As always, if you stick around towards the end, I'll show you the chords that I was playing for that chant. Do you know this comedian Pete Holmes? He has a bunch of cool bits, and a lot of them are full of sort of spiritual nuggets of wisdom. And he has this one bit where he says, like, the next time you're really angry with someone, it helps to imagine them asleep. That, you know, when you think of sort of the most annoying person you know, or the person who's intimidating you or you're in conflict with, if you just pause for a moment and imagine them asleep, it sort of disarms the situation, right? Maybe they're like curled up all awkwardly or snoring, or the mouth is hanging open, they're drooling or something. But something about it instantly just softens you, right? The person hasn't changed, but your reaction to them has changed. All of the scariness has turned into like a bit of innocence, and my resistance to them has turned into a sort of tenderness. A variation of this practice is to imagine the person you're having difficulty with as a child. So whenever I'm just kind of like mildly annoyed with someone, or, you know, I mean, usually it's my own problem anyway, I'm hungry or tired or distracted or something, it helps me to imagine them as the child version of themselves. Because then it's hard for me to hang on to that annoyance with them, right? So whoever the person is, if I'm just being impatient, or if I perceive them to be acting selfishly, or whatever it is, I can picture that person as a child, and it sort of awakens something in me that's a little bit more careful about how I respond to them. I'm a little bit more patient, a little bit more tolerant. I can even slow myself down from reacting out of annoyance. And I can kind of trick my brain into replacing judgment and strife with compassion. And they do this too in therapy, right? They say talk to your inner child, and damn it, it kind of works. you know, adult me with my inner voice can be very harsh sometimes, very judgmental, very much of a taskmaster, very much of a stickler, you know. But if I can just like soften around myself a little bit, like treat myself with that same sort of gentleness, that same like patience and slowness and compassion, it kind of works. It works to kind of disarm that harsher voice. And so this is one of the things that's so beautiful about Krishna bhakti, or Krishna devotion, is that, you know, Krishna appears in so many different forms, and devotees are sort of drawn to all these different forms of Krishna. For example, some people are drawn to Krishna as a best friend, or even as like a lover, even as a teacher, as a chariot driver, famously. Or some people are drawn to Gopala, the baby Krishna, again, because it kind of evokes that sense of tenderness inside of us, right? And that's always interesting too, because like Krishna, baby Krishna, is kind of trouble. He's kind of a troublemaker. He, steals butter, and he eats things he's not supposed to eat, and he's like a little bit of a menace. And yet, even in the stories, like his own mother can't help but see him with the tender love that a mother does, of course. So part of the way that bhakti practice works, right, is that whether we're singing or whether we're doing some practices towards an altar or something like that, it's meant to sort of awaken certain sort of qualities in the heart that are, of course, already there. But it's about cultivating a way of seeing a way of seeing others with that same sense of like tenderness and carefulness and love and devotion that one sees baby Krishna, for example. So so anytime you feel that feeling, right? Maybe that feeling comes up when you are when you're singing, when you're chanting. Maybe that feeling comes up when you're talking to your best friend. But whenever it does come up, try to like notice it. Try to notice it and like capture it a little bit so that you can train yourself to have access to it more and more often. So that in some ways you can kind of like train yourself to try to see every other being with that same affection, that same love that you would see Krishna, or that you would see your actual best friend, right? And the idea is that whatever sparks that, find that spark, find where that spark occurs in your life, and then like blow on it, like get a little flame going, get a little fire going, right? And then try to like bring that feeling back, whether you're, when you are talking to the person who annoys you, or when you feel impatience starting to rise. See if you can get back to that little spark of tenderness, whether you're talking to a partner or a mother or a child or a stranger. And we can find ways to sort of soften ourselves in these sort of harsh circumstances that come up in our life, and we can change our way of seeing and relating and being just by creating access to that feeling that already exists, that we already have in our hearts. We just need to practice having more access to it. Govinda Hare, Gopala Hare, Hey Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare. Now, there's a different place you can play it, but I found it too high for me. So I like to play it up here and sing a little lower, but you can actually play it here on the C major. I do find that I find it a little high or a little too low. So I transposed it up a little bit and then I sing it a little bit lower.